Hello best learners, this is Mustafa here at Learn with the Best, and today we're going to be talking about the 9th law of power. Win through your actions, never through arguments. I'm going to start this video by defining the law for you, and then we'll look at a few examples from the book, and we'll wrap up with how you can use this law to your advantage. Here's the law. Any momentary triumph you think you have gained through argument is really an empty victory. The resentment and ill will that you stir up is stronger and lasts longer than any momentary change of opinion. It is much more powerful to get others to agree with you through your actions without saying a single word. Demonstrate, do not explicate. Alright, so once upon a time, in the year 131 BC, there was a Roman commander who was laying siege to a Greek town. He found himself in need of a very large battering ram to break through the town's walls, and he ordered some of his soldiers to go back to their city and talk to an engineer. The soldiers did as asked and ordered the engineer to make a very large battering ram. The engineer, however, believed that a much smaller ram would be more efficient at breaking the walls down. This engineer argued endlessly with the soldiers, telling them that he was an expert in creating these rams and he knew that a smaller one would be a much better choice and blah 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 blah. The soldiers warned him not to disobey the commander, and so the engineer said, Fine, yes, I'll make the large battering ram. And then after the soldiers left, the engineer thought about it some more, and he decided to go against the commander's orders, and he started working on a small ram. After all, he was an expert in this particular area of work. When the small ram was delivered to the battlefield, the commander asked his soldiers for an explanation, and the soldiers said that they delivered the order to the engineer, but the engineer argued endlessly with them about how a smaller ram would be much more efficient and better suited for the job. And so the soldiers told the engineer not to disobey the order, and they thought that it was understood. So the commander ordered the soldiers to go back and collect the engineer. Arriving a few days later, the engineer explained to the commander the reasons for the smaller ram. He talked and talked, on and on, arguing endlessly. He told the commander that it is wise to listen to experts when it comes to these sorts of matters. So the commander let him finish talking and then ordered his soldiers to burn the engineer with hot iron rods until he died. The engineer was respected as the greatest engineer in the city, but he overplayed his hand by thinking that the commander would use logic instead of emotion. By arguing with his superior, he undermined the commander's intelligence and signed off on his own death warrant. Now let's look at an example of Michelangelo. No, not the pizza munching Ninja Turtle. I'm talking about the artist from the 16th century who used this law to his advantage. But before we do that, I want to shamelessly plug my course into the middle of this video because that's what you're supposed to do as a YouTuber. If you want to transform yourself from a lamb to a lion, then check out my course pinned in the top comment below. I teach you the importance of time and how you can manage your time in order to achieve your dreams and your life purpose. Let's be honest here, the majority of the population are sheep, taking part in the 9-to-5 rat race of life, not enjoying their work and never fulfilling or even finding their life purpose. You go to work, you come home, you eat a pizza, you watch the newest TV show, and day by day, month by month, decade by decade, your life passes you by and you have never really achieved your goals in life. So let me be your sensei. I will give you the tools that you need for success. But keep in mind, this is not a magic pill and it will require hard work on your part. You have to follow what I teach and you have to put in the work on yourself. So if you're interested, then again, check out my course pinned in the top comment below. Okay, back to the video. So during the time of the Renaissance, there was a magnificent block of marble brought to a church in Italy, but an unskilled sculptor had mistakenly punctured a hole into the piece where there should have been a figure's legs. And so everyone believed that the piece was ruined and they stored it away in a dark corridor. However, on one fateful day, some of Michelangelo's friends were visiting that particular church, and when they saw the giant block of marble, they believed that Michelangelo could do something great with it. Michelangelo heard the news and, with the mayor's approval, got to work on the piece right away. Weeks later, when Michelangelo was putting the final touches on the statue, the mayor came to the church. He studied the large piece of work and he thought that the nose was too big. Michelangelo saw that the mayor was standing in a place right under the giant figure and did not have the proper perspective. So without saying a single word, Michelangelo gestured for the mayor to follow him to another spot. He picked up his chisel as well as a little bit of dust and positioned himself a few feet above the mayor. He started tapping lightly on the nose with the chisel, letting little bits of dust fall from his hand. He actually did nothing to the nose, but gave the appearance of working on it. So after a few minutes, he stood aside and the mayor said, "Oh yes, I like it so much better now. You have made it come alive." Michelangelo knew that by changing the shape of the nose, he may ruin the entire sculpture, but he also knew that the mayor was paying him to do this job, and thus the mayor was in a higher position than Michelangelo himself. Michelangelo would gain nothing by arguing with a man like the mayor. It could lose him his commission on this particular job and many possible future jobs. So Michelangelo artistically maneuvered the situation, providing the mayor with a new perspective, while simultaneously making him believe that he was working on the nose as instructed. Michelangelo won through his actions instead of through argument. No one was offended and a great piece of art was created. So in closing, what have we learned from this law? Always judge the situation, because there are times when you must plead your case, like if you're in court and you're trying to defend yourself. But in most situations, for most people, it's much better to avoid arguments. Instead of letting emotions and anger get the best of you, try to win through your actions. When something is said, it can be perceived and interpreted in many different ways, depending on how the receiver is feeling on that particular day, and depending on their life experiences and their current lot in life. You could be saying something subjective that you believe to be 100% true from your perspective, but from another person's perspective, it could mean a completely different thing. Even if you're saying something objective, like, hey, the trees are green, someone could take it personally and say, no, the trees are not green. Color works in a way where the color that you see is the absence of that color and the presence of all other colors and blah, 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 blah. Boring. The point is, you gotta win through your actions instead of through your words. Be logical and do not be emotional. Alright, I hope that you've enjoyed this video and I hope you learned something new. If you like my YouTube content and you want to support me and support the creation of even more content, then please check out my Patreon link pinned in the top comment below. This is the absolute best way to support the creation of more new content. I upload new videos every Friday for my Patreon subscribers that go deeper into my life regarding the 48 Laws of Power. These videos are a bit more raw and untamed than my usual videos here on YouTube. And if you're a patron of mine already, then I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, because it's people like you that truly make all of this even possible in the first place. So thank you. Please don't forget to simply subscribe, smash that thumbs up button, and make sure you hit that bell icon so YouTube can let you know exactly when a new video is posted. And remember, you only retain about 10% of what you learned the first time around, so watch this video through a few times, and then come back to it again and again, in order to really understand and ingrain all of the material into your mind. Thanks, and I'll see you next time for Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power, Law number 10. Testing 1, 2, 3. What does a chicken say? A baka baka baka. What does a chicken say? A baka baka baka. Hey sweetheart, can you tell me how this sounds? Oh, ha 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 ha.
That sounds cute.
Moo ha 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 ha. Moo ha 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 ha. Oh, jeez. try that again.